This is a Miami Sports Music Podcast Network production. This is Clock Blockers. Let's go.
I know the whole city riding. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter college. Whole squad been trained to go. Fence for life, we throw the folk. Singing this just to welcome bro. Who that? To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Stephen D. And I'm here. I'm live. What's going on, baby? This is the #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. I am your host, Stephen D. Super excited to be hanging out with y'all today. Hopefully, y'all can hear me well. Everything's working. I had to get everything set up this morning. I had to deal with some personal stuff, and I'm here. I'm ready to go. I am ready, man. Sorry I wasn't here yesterday. Yesterday, I was traveling. My flight was at 11, which means my flight was at 11, and it was a crazy day nonetheless. It was a crazy day. So I was at the airport at like 8:30, 9 o'clock at the airport yesterday. So I'm here. I'm here though. Crazy weekend. Big shout out to Vesa. We had a great weekend this weekend. Allie and I, aka Doll Freaky, was a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun hanging out there. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. If you got a chance to either come or be able to come as my phone is going off. If you guys got a chance to be able to come and hang out at Vesasaur, or you guys got a chance to tune in online, I hope you all had a great time, because a good time was had by all, minus the loss. It was a rough game from that standpoint, but we'll get into all that. I'll give you my thoughts and ideas and stuff in a minute. Let me go through the rundown real quick. Just want to say good morning to my Finlaws and my family. As most of you know, I am Stephen Daniels, or Stephen D. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Stephen D SKPL. Spread kindness, positivity, and love. You can also follow Miami Sports Music on all social media platforms at Miami Sports Music, or on Twitter at MIA Sports Music. If you guys want to go ahead and give a like button and subscribe to the channel, it definitely helps. It goes such a long way into helping the channel grow. So make sure y'all do that. It's a big deal. So make sure you guys make that happen. Also, hey, look, if you guys want to help the channel grow by donating, you guys can do that by becoming members of the channel. Members become part of the family. Would love to get a couple new members to the channel. So make sure y'all do that. Sign up, become a member today. It's a lot of amazing stuff. So please sign up today, become a member, and make that happen. Also, want to remind you guys to hit the like button and subscribe. But before you guys do that, make sure you guys donate to the channel. If you're not going to do the monthly membership, you can just regular donate and you can use Cash App or PayPal, or you can use the YouTube live super chat and do it that way as well. Okay. All right. Man, a lot of stuff to do. I am super excited about everything. Just a lot of really cool stuff. I want to remind you guys, if you donate in increments of $10 through Cash App or PayPal, you will be entered to win a Christian Wilkins autograph jersey. A Christian Wilkins autograph jersey. Okay. So make sure you guys donate to the channel. If you guys donate in increments of 10, you will be able to get in to win a Christian Wilkins autograph jersey, which we're going to give away. I don't know if we're going to do it this Friday. We're going to do it this Friday. We're going to give away the Christian Wilkins autograph jersey this Friday. All right. Okay. So increments of 10. Let's go. All right. What else we got here? Big shout out to ZSM Sports. Love ZSM. Make sure they get cards, jerseys, balls, and hard-to-find items. Make sure you follow ZSM Sports. Hangry Owls, good food, good mood, craft subs, and salads. And make sure you give them a call, 305-279-5332. Vesasaur, again, big shout out to Vesa. Had such a good time there. Born and raised, a beer created for the fans, by the fans, the official beer of Clock Blockers. Great place to sit. You need tickets to the Sunday's game, Christmas Day, for the Dolphins Packers. Make sure you go to a great place to sit and check them out. It's good stuff. And then obviously Tail Greeter. We love Tail Greeter. Download the app today on your current Apple or Android device. It is a lot of good stuff. All right, it's Hot Take Tuesday. Today I think it's just going to be me. Might have a couple of special guests pop in. Hopefully Nando will pop in for a little bit. We'll see how that's going to go. But I do have a co-host, a little bit of a co-host. He's going to stay with us for a little bit this morning and hang out with us just for a little bit. My man, my brother from another mother, Mr. Cameron 954. Good morning, Cameron.
Hey, good morning. What's up, Steven?
Oh, man. I'm just trying to get back into the swing of things, man. It's crazy. Life is crazy, man. Christmas week.
Got a lot of stuff going on. I see that you got home safely, so that's a good thing.
I got home safely.
You made it out of South Beach with all those crazy Argentinian crowds. Did you go down there?
I want to talk a little before we get into the Dolphin stuff and just everything. This weekend was fun, man. This weekend was, and I'll get into that. So, I hung out with Allie and her husband Jared, aka Dolphin Security, this weekend. We had a place over. We had a really great place on the beach that we spent all of 5 minutes at because we were moving around so much. We hung out there minus the Vesa Soar night on Saturday. And then we went to breakfast right across the street, this really great restaurant on the water where people were crewing. Like there were buttloads of people crewing the whole morning. As we're leaving the restaurant, everybody at the table has the phone on to the game, by the way. This is a nice restaurant. This is a nice little brunch spot. We drunk some mimosas. We had some what's the tomato? Why am I having a brain fart? We had some Bloody Marys. I'm having a brain fart this morning. I'm not thinking straight. So we had some Bloody Marys. Everybody's watching the phone as we're walking out of like the hotel / restaurant, because the restaurant was in a hotel. We'll get onto the street, and all of a sudden we hear this explosion of like roaring, and it's not something small. Like people are out on their balconies. I mean, the place was dead as we're walking out, and in 1 second you just heard this outrageous scream from blocks and blocks away and right next to you, and the people that were valeting the cars at the hotel where we're at, they're screaming because Messi had just hit that third goal in stoppage time. And I thought that was the game. It obviously was not. But it was so weird because Allie and I are kind of looking at each other and we're like, people don't care about American football like this. Like if the Dolphins won the Super Bowl, would people act like that? We think that they would. I hope
not to that degree,
but not to that degree. It was insane. And then we ended up going to South Point Tavern in Miami Beach, and that place was packed. And we're wondering why it's still packed with people from the game, not realizing that France had tied it up in stoppage with right in the next minute, and it went to penalty kicks. And as we're pulling up to South Point Tavern, people are screaming and dancing, and they had just won the game on penalty kicks and or on whatever they call it, shootout. Yeah. And it was so crazy. It was the atmosphere was unreal on South Beach, full of Argentinian fans.
It was pretty crazy. Like I was in Southwest Miami that evening. Ironically, so at our Argentinian restaurant. It was just amazing to see just how excited and happy they were, and deservedly so. I mean, what a game! Number one, I don't know if you caught any of it, but holy Moses, that was exciting.
It was the greatest soccer game ever, and for America in like the last. Maybe
ever. Saying it was the best World Cup final in history.
Yeah, it was amazing. Argentina went up 2-0. France came back and tied it. Goes to stoppage time. It gets into the last 2 minutes of stoppage time. Messi hits the goal. Then France hits another goal in the last minute of stoppage time. Right after that, and then it goes to a shootout. And they won what, 4-2?
No, they won 2 goals up. But and it was just not so much about, the timing and everything, but it was the superstars, Messi for Argentina and Mbappe for France.
He had 3 goals in the game. He scored all 3 goals for France.
All in the last 8 minutes. And that was incredible.
I know.
Like, it was just really exciting.
Like, he was already a superstar around the world, but America popularity, now he's known in America because of that. And what are the odds that Messi comes to Miami?
Well, that's the buzz, that's what everyone's saying, that Messi's going to sign a 3-year contract down here to play for Miami. And
you don't think after that World Cup that his superstardom or the number changed?
Nah, I don't think so. I mean, he is who he is, right? Like, I don't think it's increased.
Did he score a goal in every single game for Argentina?
I don't know that.
I think he's one of 4 players to score a goal in every World Cup game. Him, Pele, and I think there were 2 other people to score on a goal in every single game in the World Cup, in that particular World Cup. So yeah. So I mean, is Messi now down as the greatest soccer player of all time?
No, I don't even think he's the greatest Argentinian soccer player. I mean, Diego Maradona had multiple World Cup appearances.
Also number 10, I think, right?
What's that?
I think his number was also number 10. Just like
and then he played for the Chicago Fire here in the MSL, and had a storied career here. So
everybody ends their career in America, and they get their one last paycheck, from America. I always think that's funny, but no, look, it was cool. So we did that, and then we sat at South Point Tavern. Like, everybody left. That place was packed to the brim. I met with the owner, who was a Bills fan, which sucked. And he was a great guy. Loved the guy. Nicest guy. Very nice guy, but he was a Bills fan. And the manager, and they had all these TVs, and they're like, yeah, we only do this for the Super Bowl. So, like, I guess they rented chairs and extra TVs specifically for this game. And we're breaking that down. And so we were the only ones in South Point, and a South Point Tavern in South Beach, if you've never been to it, has like this couch and stuff like that. And it's a real beautiful setup. And so Allie, Jared, and I sat there and watched all the 1:00 games on Sunday with this young lady who was also in marketing, and I need to call her this week. And she's a big Kansas City Chiefs fan. So we were watching the Chiefs game. We were watching the Jets game, the Lions Jets game, and we sat there and watched that. And then 305 Sports Babe and her boyfriend came out, my man Lou, my brother Lou. And so it was Allie, Jared. I was the fifth wheel. And it was fun, though. We had a good time. And then Jared and Allie had to go back home, and then we ended up going to this bar right behind this diner called Pink, the Fat Pink.
Big Pink. Yeah, Big Pink.
So there's a bar right behind it. We ended up watching that. We ended up watching the Vegas New England game there, which, let me just say, amazing.
Were you at Max?
Yeah, Max's. We ended up going to Max's.
Okay. Max Deuce. Listen, that bar is legendary, right?
That's what Lou was telling me. Lou's like,
so just a long story short, the owner passed away a few years ago. And I have to tell you, this is a great story. Because if you remember the young lady that I introduced you to in New York at when we were doing the live spot at the bar in New York for MetLife Takeover the night before, remember we interviewed a lady that's the owner's daughter from Max Deuce.
Small world.
Yeah, no doubt. And the owner passed away. He was like 104 years old, but he was a South Beach legend. And that bar, you can find superstar celebrities, just hanging out, having a well drink at any time of the day and night.
The place looks so number one. So we walk into it, and I'm like, wow, this place is pretty. I don't want to say old, but it's definitely been. You could know that the bar had been there a while. And I'm like, well, I go to Lou. I said, why don't they update this place? He's like, because you can't touch this place. He's like, this place, like when you walk in, is what it was 20 or 30 years ago. And even to this day, it's still like, you go to South Beach, you got to go to Max's.
Yeah. Max Deuce, Club Deuce is it's a legendary spot. And And like you said, if anybody comes down, man, you got to go there to South Beach. And Big Pig has great breakfast, by the way. I don't know
Well,
if you ate.
so we watched the Vegas game, and Bill Belichick's face was the greatest face on. It was just, I loved every second of that last 5 minutes of that game, or last 5 minutes, last 5 seconds of that game. And then we go and we eat at the Big Pink, and I get the open face Thanksgiving sandwich and chicken parmesan, and so I got chicken parmesan. Lou got the Thanksgiving. We split it in half. He had one half. I had one half of each sandwich. Let me tell you, bro, that place was unreal. The food side proportions were so big. The service there was phenomenal. I mean, we were like, he's like, what do you want to eat? I was like, I want tacos. And as we're walking out, I'm like, screw it. We'll just eat here. We don't want to move the car. We'll just eat here. And I'm so glad that we ended up eating at the Big Pink. And it was fun hanging out with Allie and Jared yesterday or the day before, and then closing the night with Lou and 305 Sports Babe Ashley. And it was, as Ice Cube would say, today was a good day. That day was a very, very good day.
Right on, man. Right on. That's good to hear, bro. Good to hear, man. And what an incredible, weekend of football, from Thursday night game, from San Francisco and Brock Purdy, Saturday games, which were that we experienced the greatest comeback in NFL history.
We'll start there. We're at the hotel in South Beach, and Jared's, taking a nap, and Allie and I are just chilling, and she's like, turn on the game, and we couldn't get it on the TV, so I put it on my phone. And I'm like, the game's 33-0. Like, it was 33-0. What do you think this game's going to be, Allie? And we turned it on, and the comeback is on. And I'm like, wait, Matt Ryan's the quarterback for Indianapolis. This makes sense. So I tweeted out, I was like, if Matt Ryan is your quarterback, it doesn't matter how much you're leading by. No lead is safe when your quarterback is Matt Ryan. Just want to throw that out there. That was crazy, man. 33-0 at halftime?
Yeah, and in the third quarter, I think it was 33-13.
Absolutely unreal and insane, that game. And I don't know who that says more about, Indy or
Minnesota.
Because Minnesota, when they're down 33-0, I'm like, yeah, they're not the team, but you come down for 33 points. I mean, that's one of those games that can give you momentum going into the rest of the season, right? Like, that can propel you to be like, all right, let's go. And I think it down 33. I don't care if the team is a bad football team like Indianapolis. That's still impressive, right?
Well, listen. It is impressive to score that many points. Cousins went off. Jefferson and I can't remember the kid, the other wide receiver, but he's from the U. Went off. But it also is a testament to just how bad the Colts are, and they lost their running back, so everything was on Matty Ice's shoulders. And when that happens, like you just said, man, it's not good. Things won't happen. But then in Sunday, like KC almost lost to the Texans, like crazy.
We were watching that whole game, and the girl behind me, who's the big Chiefs fan, she's like, I don't know. This team is bipolar. Like, she's like, we face anybody decent she didn't think they were going to the Super Bowl. She's like, I don't know. Like, if they struggle with bad teams, will play very well against good teams. But if you run into a bad week against a good team, she's like, they're going to be done. And so she didn't think too highly of them making it all the way to the Super Bowl, which is interesting, because let's kind of get into it, right? Let's talk about Saturday night, right? Miami, obviously, the game leading up to the week. Here was my thoughts. My thought was, I felt a lot more confident than a majority of the fan base, because I feel we have everything we need to win the game. But track record shows that we don't play very well in cold weather, and we do have a lot of injuries. So I was like, I said, we're either going to win by a little bit or we're going to lose by a lot. By the way, I was wrong on both. Neither here or there. I think my theory was correct in the standpoint of we had everything we needed to win. Like, we have the pieces to be an elite football team today, even with all the injuries. We get some caught balls and that were drop passes in that game, we have a very good chance of winning that game. We have some calls that don't necessarily go against us. We have a very good shot of winning that game. We make some different adjustments in certain like, first of all, I want to say in the last post halftime Houston, that's the best football we played post halftime Houston. So what, 2.5 weeks? That's the best football we played. And a lot of people don't want to hear it because a lot of people are like, it was a loss. There are no moral victories. That's all fun. That's all well and good. Saturday night showed me that the Miami Dolphins have everything it takes to make a Super Bowl run. And I don't care what anybody says. I don't care how you feel about it. We have the team to really go down and make a difference. Now, it's going to be, we got 3 games to get our crap together. And I think we will. I think we're going to do it against Green Bay. I think we're going to do it against New England. And I think we're going to do it against the Jets. And we're going to go in, we're going to win the next 3. And I truly believe no matter who we play in the first round, even if it's Kansas City, we're going to beat them. And I'm 100% confident that Miami wins the next 3 and wins the first round of the playoffs. They're winning the next 4 games. The last time I was this confident, they went 5-0. I said they're going 5-0 in that 5-game win streak. And the time I was this confident before that, I said Miami's going to win every game. The only game I'm uncertain about is Tennessee. And I was 100% on. So the last 2 times I have felt this confident, Miami's come to fruition. And I promise you all on everything, if you are listening, the Dolphins will win the next 3 games, and they will win at least the first round in the playoffs. I'm sold. I am sold on this team that they have everything they need. I don't know how you feel about it.
So I disagree slightly. I think they're a notch below the elite teams. They have the elite offense, right? So I think they have an offense that can win a Super Bowl. I think they have a defensive front 4, but as I tweeted out late Saturday night after the game, the Achilles heel of this team is definitely the secondary. And we're running a bunch of guys who are practice squad guys and really depth chart guys against, going into the playoffs. And that's never a good thing. Coupled with the fact that Xavier Howard is not playing to the level of play that we've seen him play the last 3 years. I rewatched the game last night, on the all 22 and the condensed game. And I just really watched Xavier and watched the secondary and how, a lot has to do with the positions that are put in by Boyer and the defensive scheme calling. But there was a couple instances where, Xavier got cooked and Allen missed on a couple passes that could have gone to the house. One to Diggs and another one to Knox that could have gone to the house that Xavier had one-on-one coverage on. And they were just simply overthrew him, but he was beaten, and he was beaten badly. It wasn't Knox. It was the backup tight end.
I know what you're talking about.
And that touchdown throw, he put a move on him and X got turned around and his hips got, planted the wrong way. And, it was a touchdown pass. So back to what you were saying is that you're convinced this team is going to go into the playoffs on a three-game win streak and win the first round. We don't know who that first round is against. And it's a bold statement, whether it's at home or not, remains to be seen. Do I think they win the next 3 games? Yes. I think I'm most worried about the Green Bay game, only because Green Bay is playing pretty well. The defensive secondary is playing excellent. They shut down, a good team last night.
They did.
Not a good team, but the Rams, had played well the last week. And, Green Bay showed, they can, score and stop anybody. But man, I liked what I saw from the Dolphins. I think a lot of the narratives going into that game were answered, from our quarterback, from our overall ability to play, cold weather, team, warm weather team going into Buffalo. I actually, if the playoffs started today, it's Buffalo versus Miami again in Buffalo.
I know. And I
actually want to see that.
So let me just say this. So this is how I feel. I feel no matter what happens, I want to see Buffalo in the playoffs again. I want that third game. And I don't want people. I want them. I want to beat them. I want to show them who their daddy is, because I'm telling you, they're not a better football team than us, man. I don't believe that they are. We won the first game. We should have won on Saturday night, and I think that we're the better football team. I know a lot of people disagree. I am convinced the Miami Dolphins are a better football team than the Buffalo Bills. I know our record doesn't say that. I still think that we're behind them in the elevation process of how our team is going to be a contender on a year in, year out basis. But I think we have everything we need to win and be a contender. And people are like, Steve, Cat for Life says, Steven, you've been guaranteeing and promising with confidence for the past 3 weeks, my man. I'm with you, ride or die, brother. Look, here's the thing. I wasn't confident against San Fran. I was the one up here saying, nah, I think this is the game we're going to lose. I said that. I was very confident against or LA. Don't know what happened. There's no excuse for Vegas, or for, I keep on wanting to say Vegas. There's no excuse for LA, for the LA game. None. Was straight wrong on that. And I don't have a reason why. And then they go into Buffalo and they prove they had an 8-point lead with 9 minutes left. And then just everything changed. The weather, everything. I'm not.
No. Take the weather out of the equation, because that's a really lame excuse.
It is.
And it started snowing. And two threw 2 dimes in the snow.
Straight dimes. Yeah.
And then we stopped running the ball. Like, he threw an out pass. Like that was a designed, a play to the flat that shouldn't have gone in the flat. That, like, the Bills were sitting on that play, and so. Jesus, like it's frustrating to see, like, us going away from what had worked, throwing the ball downfield and the outside, the tackle run scheme that was working so well. And then I just don't understand the play calling those last 2 drives, man.
And again, I just want to interrupt and say, all the way to the Jets game, you and I going to the Mets game, we talked about McDaniel. We've talked about certain things where McDaniel's play calling has been, what are you trying to do? What are you doing? I give if I had to score McDaniel out of a 1 to 10, I'm giving him an 8.5, if not a 9. But I agree that where his shortcomings have been this year has probably cost us 1 or 2 games, in full honesty.
And I read a stat this morning, like the Dolphins and the Ravens are the only 2 playoff contending teams in the bottom third of the league in fourth quarter run differential, scoring differential. They're minus 30 in the fourth quarter.
Really?
And Buffalo's minus 29.
That's interesting.
So that's on the coach, right? That to me is telling me something about, how we're finishing game. Man, McDaniel has, plays schemed and scripted for the first, 30 plays. But where's the last 30 plays? Where's the last 15 plays?
And let me say,
and that's including the Baltimore Ravens game, where 100%. We scored all those points.
He even said, I threw everything out the window in the fourth quarter and just let him fly the ball. Just said, just go have at it. Go throw the ball deep. And he did, and we saw what happened. Let me just say that with McDaniel, by the way, I'm not mad at him. I don't blame him for anything. And when I say I don't blame him, like, he's a first-year head coach, and he is the reason that we've won as many games as we've had using the play calling that he's had. My personal opinion. He's a big part of it. It's not everything, but he's a big part of it. So for the 1 or 2 losses that I can put on him or say, bro, if you had have done things differently, maybe this game turns out differently, I'm going to say, as everything just fell off.
Your ceiling's coming down.
My ceiling's coming down. No, it's stuff. I was trying to hang up stuff, and it didn't work out well, as long as it was not the La Perfecta bottle that's on the shelf here. That's what I was scared about, honestly, because I got this La Perfecta bottle. Shout out to Vasasaur. Yeah, so look, when it comes down to it, McDaniel is a reason that we have 8 games. Here's the other thing, too. If somebody had told me, hey, Steven, your team's going to be 8-6, and with 3 games left, they they control their own destiny to get into the playoffs. And by the way, their last 3 games are going to be against Green Bay.
New England
that's been well this year, right? New England and the Jets. I would have been like, all right, let's go. Everybody wants to be able to put a measuring stick. We're going to know. We are going to know exactly. Miami started out 3-0, then lost 3. Then they won their next 5. Now, my hope is they don't lose their next 5 because I don't need that or want that. But what I'm saying is when it comes down to it, I believe that the Dolphins are a streaky team. And the moment they get the first win, it snowballs. And all you need to do, we all know that in the playoffs, it's about getting hot at the right time. And so if Miami's going to have their down games, we've already had them. So for me, get hot against Green Bay, roll it into New England, and then finish it off and make sure you whoop the crap out of the Jets for the disrespect they did in the Meadowlands. And then you go into the playoffs and you say, okay, who wants the smoke? I don't care if it's Buffalo. Don't care at all if it's Buffalo. Don't care if it's Kansas City. Don't care if it's Nashville. Don't care if it's Cincinnati. Don't care if it's Baltimore. Don't care if it's Jacksonville. Those are by the way, just for those of you who know, the Dolphins are either going to be playing in Buffalo, Jacksonville, Cincinnati, Baltimore, or what's the 5th team? Baltimore, Cincinnati,
Tennessee,
Jacksonville, Tennessee. There's another team.
It's not KC.
Did I say Kansas City?
I don't think so.
All right, so Kansas City. Those are the 5 places. Because I'll be honest, I don't see them winning the division at this point. They're not getting a home playoff game in the first round. They're going on the road somewhere. Question is where.
It still could happen.
What?
The division.
Buffalo would have to lose the last 3, and we'd have to win. Which I think we're gonna do our job. I don't see them losing the last 3.
They play Cincinnati next week, which is really interesting.
I mean, look, very, very. So here's the thing. Would you rather want to play Cincinnati or Baltimore in the first weekend?
That's a great question. I would think that I would want to play. It doesn't matter. That's who I want to do.
Look, we're a morning show. We talk all things sports. We have to talk rooting guide. Would you rather play Cincinnati or would you rather play Baltimore the first weekend of the playoffs?
I would rather play Cincinnati, I believe.
I agree, by the way.
But I mean, listen, let's go back. I mean, again, there's back to your original statement about this team, having enough to win, go to the Super Bowl.
I see it being in this order: Fins, Tennessee, Cincy, Bills. Kevin Lee says, "Thank you for the $2 donation, Kevin."
And no one's given a free pass because the expectation from Flores after 3 years with this team was better. We're still running with a first-year head coach who is, just from the eyeball test has been so much better. We're sitting here nitpicking things in the fourth quarter, which justifiably so. Like we ran the ball one time in the fourth quarter. Mostert had 6 carries in the whole second half. There was stupid penalties too that extended drives for Buffalo that killed us. Not to mention that last pass interference call. It's but that's the result of having a rookie, right? Like Cater Kahoo in a position to make a play, and he committed a pass interference. It was clearly pass interference. Mm-hmm. If that's Byron Jones, we can sit here and nitpick and play what ifs, but that's the reality of the situation that we have. Keon Crossing, and we have Bethel, and we have Kahoo, and we have McKinley and Fedulum playing those are special teams guys on a normal day, right?
100%. Do you think actually before we get going, because let me bring on another person to this conversation, my brother from another mother. Love this man. Let me bring him on, one of the co-hosts of Hot Take Tuesday, Mr. Nando Talk. Good morning, Nando.
Good morning, Steven, and good morning, Cameron, bro. Way to hold it down today, man.
Yeah, Nando, I had to step in while you were, rushing back from FIU or wherever, obviously from the hairstylist and riding
Dude,
a
your hair
motorcycle.
is fire, bro. Nice.
Riding a motorcycle with no helmet.
Dude, I had to get a haircut before the World Cup, man. I had to look good for going to the
look
Godfather's
fresh
house,
He had to look fresh for all those Argentinian fans that were going crazy on Sunday.
My brother's Godfather's Argentinian, so he had a very big event on Sunday. It was a fun time. Then my brother had a piano recital at the end of the day, so it was a big Sunday. Big Sunday. Had to make sure I looked spiffy.
Had to look fresh, and then you knew you had to get on Tuesday on the Hot Take Tuesday, and what better way to be hot than with a new fresh cut?
That was the bonus. I said, Mr. Barber, please make sure it lasts until at least Tuesday, so I can shock and awe Mr. Cameron and Steven, and it'll be a fun time, So
Nando, man, I was Sunday afternoon. I was down in the hammocks in Doral. Dude, it was crazy down there.
Dang.
I was in South Beach at the South Point Tavern, man. It was wild.
I heard you guys talking about it while I was waiting at the bank, man. That's fun time, man, to be down there in Miami after that World Cup. Epic times. But
hey, man, let's bring you on a little bit. What was before we get going, because we were getting into a really good conversation about the future of the Dolphins. I don't want to stem away from Saturday night's game. What were your thoughts and takeaways from Saturday night's game, Nando?
Steven, I think you put it in pretty well. Merry Christmas, everyone, by the way. I think it's you said it pretty well, Steven. The fact that we did lose on Saturday, but we were able to see now that the Dolphins have the tools, have the ability to keep up with those big teams, that if we do go on a playoff run, we can hang with anyone, man. Like, I genuinely believe that the Dolphins have the pieces. And I try to compare it almost feels like the 2021 Bengals, man. Like, once you get to the playoffs, who cares about your record, bro? Like,
everything goes, bro.
Everything goes, bro.
Get hot at the
good
right
offense.
time. That's it.
Good offense when it clicks. Good pass rush when it clicks. A little bit of a weird secondary, but we can hang, bro. And like you said, nothing counts when we get to the playoffs. Once you get there, you're golden. You're good to go.
Let's play this hypothetical, right? And again, we're a morning show. We can be hypothetical. And I know a lot of people are like, well, let's not play what ifs. We're going to play the what if game. I wish I had a cue to music, a what if game with a little doo-doo. Okay. We're going to play the what if game. What if Tua and the Miami Dolphins go 3-0 and Tua throws for 3 touchdowns in each game and throws for 300 plus yards in each game, and the defense holds those remaining 3 teams to under 17 points a game? Do the Miami Dolphins not automatically then become Super Bowl contenders in the eyes of the national media pundits, because they held their own in Buffalo in a cold weather game and had every chance and every opportunity to win that game? And there are a lot of pundits that were like, the referees are the ones that screwed them. Good, bad, or indifferent, we're not here to play we're not having the referee conversation at this particular moment. But if they go 3-0 in their next 3, Tua throws for 3+ touchdowns, and the defense holds those offenses under 17 points, are the Dolphins not Super Bowl contenders at that point?
Of course. I think we're darlings once again.
Yep.
And especially, like you said, the 3-game win streak, not only obviously, we'd be more confident, we'd be on fire, we'd be clicking again, everything would seem to be going well. But I think that's kind of been the story of the Dolphins season. And I was thinking about it last night, how would we feel if we weren't on these big win streaks, lose streaks, win streaks, lose streaks? I feel like that's really played not only with the national media, but us, man. 3-game win streak, 3-game lose streak, 5-game win streak, 3-game losing streak. And now we'd go on another 3-game win streak. We'll feel confident again, but I think that's the only reason we even feel down right now, if that makes sense.
Do you feel down, though? Do you really feel down?
I don't feel down. I don't feel down because I look at it as a game per game view.
You're able to compartmentalize it.
Exactly.
I think our expectations were to win 2 or 3. I think we all said that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, when we lost the first 2, I think that's when we started really beating everybody up and beating ourselves up. And then we come out and all we said last week prior to the Bills game, all we wanted to see was a competitive game. We wanted to see the Dolphins compete, right? Our expectations were, let's see Tua play well. Let's see the run game. And those things happened, right? It so happens we got beat. We had an 8-point lead going into the fourth quarter with 8 minutes to go. we got beat by probably a better all around team, and that's a fair assessment, and I think that's a fair thing to say. And so going in, our expectations that we win the next 3 games. Are we considered a Super Bowl contender? Any playoff team is considered a Super Bowl contender. I think, in my opinion, that Buffalo in the AFC, Buffalo and Kansas City are just a notch better than Cincinnati and Miami, and that's where I put Cincinnati and Miami a notch below those
That's
two
fair.
teams.
And
3-game win streak changes it all, though, man.
Cameron, do you not also believe that, Miami gets in a playoff game with one of those teams that, even though they might be the better team, it's any given Sunday, and we can make
Cincinnati proved that last year. They were the 5th seed. So absolutely. And this offense is good enough to win a Super Bowl and good enough to beat anybody at any given Sunday. It's the rookie head coach, it's the play calling, it's the fourth.
If somebody had told me after 3 straight losses, right after these 3 games, Steven, you guys lost 3, but you're still gonna feel very confident about moving forward, I would have probably laughed at you, because I would and I'll tell you why. Because every single game, I think we can go down to 2, maybe 3 plays in each of these games, 3-game losses, right? And prove and show, okay, if these 3 plays had been different, this touchdown had been caught, or this drop passed, or not overthrown, or X, Y, and Z, we would have won these games, right? We've also seen this year that Miami, again, just like we've stated, and Nando just stated eloquently, we're a streaky team. And our team is also made adjustments in the season with some things. So if Miami can, and I said, for me, it's a light switch. And by the way, my personal opinion is that light switch was turned on Saturday night in Buffalo. I know we didn't win, but that light switch went on.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, speaking of Sunday and Christmas Day, Miami is going to blow up. I think they're going to blow out Green Bay. I don't even think it's going to be a close game. I think we're going to blow them out. I think we're going to blow them out the water, because Miami's going to be like, okay, we got this. We just hung. We went toe-to-toe. We went 12 rounds with the heavyweight champ in Buffalo. Let's go. Let's go. We can do this.
Of course.
And that's how I feel. I think that it's just making a drop catch needs to be a catch. I agree we have holes. Secondary being one of them. Xavier Howard, this is what we were about to talk about before Nando came on. X has lost a step, and I personally don't think he's going to be here next year. But I love the guy. But he's definitely been a liability these last few
So
years.
sad.
But I love him. I personally,
Getting a Keter Go jersey.
I don't know what to say about
sorry,
X when it comes to that. It's interesting to see how that secondary is going to be going into the final 3 weeks. You don't have to worry about too many wide receivers in Green Bay, so you're not too worried about that.
So let's stop you there. I think that is not an accurate statement.
Watson.
Why?
They got Watson.
Chris
You know
Watson,
why?
nice boy.
Because you've got arguably the best or second best quarterback for the past 10 years throwing to him. And I don't think it matters, because Rodgers is that difference maker, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's throwing to some pretty competent and fast and tall receivers, and they have a bell cow running back that can control the clock. So I don't think it's a blowout game. I think, the Dolphins win, but listen, you got to worry about any team and any given Sunday. I mean, Houston proved that against KC. Jacksonville just whooped Dallas, any given Sunday, right? But we need to win these next 3 games.
Talk about a switch, man. Aaron Rodgers, if he flips that switch, that's some scary stuff, man. Especially like you said, those tall, confident receivers, man. I think we win on Christmas Day, but if Aaron Rodgers starts coming out swinging a big boy Aaron Rodgers day, I'm going to be excited because I'm there, but I'm definitely going to be nervous we have a vulnerable secondary, and that's exactly.
Yeah,
Tyreek Hill is 471 yards away from 2002 is 762 yards away. Let's kind of switch the foam here, narrative here real quick, or the discussion here real quick. Voting for the Pro Bowl, and I put that in quotations because we all know there's no Pro Bowl anymore.
Skills
Ended this week.
challenge.
Yeah, skills challenge now ended this week. And Tua Tagovailoa was the leading vote getter with the only player receiving over 300,000 votes. I think he had 307,000 votes. And right behind him, the number 2 vote getter was our very own Tyreek Hill. What are your thoughts about Tyreek and Tua being the leading vote getters in the Pro Bowl for the Pro Bowl voting? I'll start with Cameron.
I think 1,271 of those votes came from your computer, Steven.
You can neither confirm nor deny that, okay? You can't confirm nor deny that.
There was a Buffalo fan on Twitter yesterday, or it wasn't even a Buffalo fan. It was Ben Volen, the New England beat writer that used to be the Dolphins beat writer, just throwing Dolphin fans under the bus saying like, oh, the Dolphin fans have all this screen time available. They must not work because that's the only reason the votes are the Tua and Hill are getting these votes.
Well,
Yeah, there was no cruise. Steven was just voting last time.
For Dolph Freaky to go vote. It's in the link in the chat. Go vote Dolph Freaky as NFL Fan of the Year. If we can get Tua, the leading vote getter, we can get Ali, aka Dolph Freaky, as the NFL Fan of the Year. Look, I think this is really cool. Number one, I know there's a regular football fan doesn't always put a lot of stock into the Pro Bowl. I get that, especially now that the Pro Bowl is not here. But I still think it's a really cool accolade that fans from all over the world are thinking, okay, this guy is legit. Like, they're putting some stock into, they feel enough about him to make him the NFL. Like, he's that popular in the NFL. I mean, that says a lot, especially with Patrick Mahomes there, right? So Patrick didn't get those votes, Tua did.
I think he's won a lot of hearts over, man. Like, a lot of people, non-Dolphins fans, I get, because if anything, we can be a little bit more hypercritical because for us, Tua's success depends on like the franchise's success. But like non-Dolphins fans also I have to believe, like, neutral people have looked and said, oh snap, I was told this kid sucks. I just turned on a Dolphins game. That was a pretty nice throw. That was a pretty nice play. And then they go out and vote for that too. I get it. A lot of them have probably been Dolphins fans, but I've got to believe some are also some neutral parties who have been bought over and brought into this. Damn, Tua's not as bad as I was told. He's actually pretty good.
It's funny, Nando. The only area where Tua really gets a lot of slander is South Florida in his own backyard, right? And we all know the culprits.
Or national media pundits name Colin Cowherd.
That's what I'm saying. There's like maybe like 20 national media candidates. Like, okay, those 20 guys didn't vote for Tua. Cool, bro. But like, I've got to believe neutral parties did.
But your point is made. Like, he's got a lot of fans and appreciation from around the country for what he's been doing this year, and it's showing in the Pro Bowl vote. I listen, folks who say that it's all Miami people filling up these vote stats. Listen, nobody in Miami votes for all pros or all stars. Like, we don't even go to the games unless we're winning. So like that narrative to me is weak.
I 100% agree with that.
If we actually voted, like, Cameron Wake would have been a Pro Bowler every single year. Like, Rashad Jones would have never missed a Pro Bowl. Like, all these little like fan favorites for all these years. That's all we had to root for. Like, what now? You think we just came out randomly for Tua?
Well, hey, let me ask you this. Like, speaking of this, like, if Chandler Jones did to Tua what he did to Wack Jones, like, we wouldn't even be able to have a show because that's all that would be talked about, right?
Look how small he is, getting run over by. If he was bigger, if we had Justin Herbert, he would have stripped back Chandler Jones.
If he had bigger hands, he would have tackled him to the ground and stripped him of the ball.
Exactly. And if he was athletic, he would have taken it to the house. And like, that's what real quarterbacks do: fumble recovery touchdowns, to win the game.
The point is that like so much, like, he's so polarizing, and for not a good reason. The kid is humble. He comes out, he's doing his work. He's in his third year, like, for all the reasons, like, he's having a really good season. So I think the All-Pro vote is a reflection for not only what he's doing this season, but his travails over the last 2 seasons and how he's persevered. And that's just my opinion.
100%. Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. It is Hot Take Tuesday, Nando Talk, Cameron 954 from East 32. We're having a good time. We're talking Miami Dolphins football. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Cameron, I don't know if you've had a chance to talk about, did you, because we hit 10,000. Did you say anything about 10,000 yet? I don't think you have.
Not today.
Not today. We hit 10,000 subscribers, bro, last week. 10,000 subscribers.
I must have missed that memo in the company email.
I know. It's only the week before Thanksgiving, and I've just been going crazy out of my mind. Yeah, man. Shout out to y'all, the fans. Y'all are absolutely amazing. 10,000 subscribers. And big thanks to everybody on the squad that's helped us get there. With these two individuals, Nando and Cameron, being a big part of that. So thank both of you guys. And
a lot of work on your part, Steven. It's a team effort, and first and foremost, it's a testimony to all the OGs in the chat, everybody that shows up every day, supports Steven and Miami Sports Music and Solo D and Nando and Smoke and everybody who's got a platform on Miami Sports Music. It's a pretty cool thing to know that it just started a little over a year and a half ago.
Oh, it's awesome, man. Like, honestly, like, thank you, everyone. Like, I'm new to the party. I haven't put as much work as the gentlemen above me have, but you guys at the chat, you guys are so inviting. It's so welcoming. Like, I'll have like a long day and it's like, I got to hop on and then you guys just hype me up and then I don't want to hop off. Like, or like, I just get to talk to you guys. I get lost, like reading the chat. You guys have your funny little discussions and it's entertaining, but thanks to you guys, Steven and Cameron also, man. It's the whole team also. Just 10K, baby.
Hey, man, you're a big part of that. Hey, breaking news.
Bruce Sherman sold the Marlins for some tuna fish.
Jets have ruled out Mike White for Thursday night. Zach Wilson will start again against the Jaguars.
So let's talk about that, because as much as I hate to say it, Zach Wilson didn't play a horrible game. He had 2 picks that were bad, but he also threw for 317 and had 2 tutties.
And they still lost to Detroit, and it was beautiful, and I loved every second of it.
100%. Detroit's a really good football team now.
Let me just tell you, if Detroit can find a way to get into the playoffs, it's going to be tough. I don't know if they are. But if they do, bro, I would not want to be the 2 seed in the NFC facing Detroit at all. I want nothing to do with Detroit. And I was very surprised last night that it's
a dogfight.
Or Sunday night that the Giants beat the Commanders. I definitely thought the Commanders were on this thing. I was so disappointed in Tyler Heineke.
The refs effed the Redskins worse than any other team this past weekend.
Well, there's so many things we just talked about. Okay, well, real quick, do you think that who gets that 7th seed in the NFC?
I hope it's the Lions now.
I want the Lions to do it.
The hungry dog always runs faster, man.
I want to see Dolphins Lions Super Bowl. Let's go.
So the Cowboys didn't clinch, right? So with that loss, they could lose out and get like the 7th seed. How about that?
Cowboys are in the playoffs. Like, I think they're 97 or 98% locked in getting into the playoffs.
But they haven't clinched their division yet.
They haven't, and they haven't. I don't think they've clinched a playoff spot yet. But I think next week they will win or lose depending on certain games.
Yeah, it's a good point. The Packers could slide in there, but the Packers would have to beat the Dolphins on Sunday, and we don't see that happening.
No, I don't see that happening at all. Like, I'm looking at the playoffs right now, and if you look at it, Washington is 7-6, and Seattle and Detroit are 7-7, and Green Bay 6. Green Bay's not jumping ahead of Seattle and Detroit and Washington. That's not going to happen. So I think it's going to be Detroit at this point getting the 7th seed, and I think it'll be crazy. Now let's talk about the referees. We can go back to our game and talk about it. So let's just talk about referees, period. Is there a problem in the NFL with referees? Let's just start flat out there with that question. Yes or no? Nando, is there a problem in the NFL with refereeing?
Dude, I think if anyone who's watched the World Cup, especially. I'm bringing it up because the advancements they've made in technology, it's not necessarily the refs' faults. These guys are part-timers. They're kind of dumb. Okay. Like I don't expect them to know like all the nuances of every single rule. It's updating, changing every single time. And then heat of the moment, like they missed something, and there are some plays that are not allowed to be reviewable. They don't have adequate technology. I think if you added like goal line technology, little microchip to the ball to let you know if it crossed the first down line, crossed the plane, if it's out of bounds, if you added little microchips in people's cleats to let them know if they're on in bounds or out of bounds, because that technology is all available in soccer. Like it makes no sense that the NFL doesn't have it. I, as a normal player, can get a microchip into my cleats that allow me to know if I'm on pitch or off pitch. It costs me an extra $100. You're telling me the NFL can't implement this stuff? Like, help out the refs a little bit. If you're gonna have instant replays, if you're gonna have challengeable stuff, dude, have New York working a lot harder. Have a VAR for the NFL. I'm done with stupid little missed calls and relying on like dumb refs to like make.
Tell me how you really
calls.
feel, Nando. I was not expecting that answer from you.
What is
bro? Like
on?
It's soccer. You know exactly whether it's a goal or not. None of this debate. It's literally like that's a goal. That's not a goal. That was in bounds. Like there's a Japanese goal that I remember that it looks like the ball goes out of bounds, goes in a ridiculous angle into the goal. Everyone complains about it, and the VAR literally goes, I can tell you it's a goal because this microchip says the ball was inbounds. Shut up.
Right.
And like in the NFL, you'd have to sit there for 20 minutes debating whether the ball was on the line or not. That's ridiculous,
Or
first down.
Or
we're running a chain system, bro.
Toe dragged, or if his second toe dragged.
Exactly. Or a second toe drag. I would just know, like, oh no, this told me that at this second, both feet were down. Boom, we're done. All right, boom, move on with the play. That was a catch. Or it would say, oh no, that's not a first down because the chip said no, bro. The chip said no. I don't know what to tell you. Like, just
listen. Like, I think that's an excellent point, Nando. I think you're spot on.
We use a chain gang, bro. It's what is this like?
There needs to be more accountability. There needs to be, an upgrade in the technology. There needs to be more referees. I think there needs to be a better communication from sidelines to New York. All of it, right? Because the product that's being put on the field from the officiating standpoint is not equivalent to what's being played from both sides of the team, in my opinion. And you just outlined an awesome, comparison to another major sport that could improve, our sport.
Be huge.
I remember 15, 20 years ago, they tried to introduce instant replay, and I think they did for a year or two, maybe even 1 year. And they said the game was taking way too long, so they ended up getting rid of instant replay for a little while, and then they
for soccer or for
football, and then they ended up. Remember that, Cameron?
Yeah,
that was a big deal. They introduced it. They I don't know if it was
ridiculous.
1 or 2 years, maybe
that
3
was really
years.
a thing.
Yeah, it was probably like 20 years ago, and
that's been the argument for soccer is don't put any replays because it slows down the game, which I understand because soccer.
Which, by the way, every replay that I saw during the World Cup literally took 2 minutes. Every single
exactly, and they did it fast. And but the argument for years was we don't want to slow down anything, even 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Like you see it, that's why there was like 10 minutes, 12 minutes, sometimes at extra time.
So let's talk
football
about that,
stops every play. Just do an extra replay.
And Nando, you just outlined that Japanese goal. I remember watching that game and the controversy in the booth, right?
Yeah.
Let's fast forward that. If we had that same technology in the Raiders game, where the wide receiver's foot was clearly on the line,
boom,
there would be no debate.
A little red light would have just appeared.
How about this weekend's Raiders game?
Yes.
Yeah, a little red light would have just appeared on the refs stopwatch again. Stop the play. Out of bounds, and they'd be like, "What are you talking about, dude?
How about
I just got beat, bro."
I've been at the bar and traveling. I have not even seen ESPN. That wasn't a touchdown.
His foot was on the line.
Never saw this replay, bro. I just saw that they lost that the Raiders.
Tutter.
Dude, Google it right now. It's amazing.
No way.
And so, listen, the Dolphins benefited from that call because New England went on to lose the game for other stupidity. For other reasons, in their own stupidity is what I'm trying to say. But the game wouldn't have been into that position if the right call was made.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, bro. The offside technology in soccer is crazy. They go, nope, your hand was out over the line. You tell me you can't do that in football?
Dude, they do it in tennis with the eagle eye, like
that's what I'm saying. How does tennis have better technology than the NFL, bro? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
And listen, we're not blaming the refs for losses. Both
No.
teams play with the same set of refs. But, and there was calls made, that didn't benefit or did benefit
Right.
Buffalo just the same way, right?
They don't have all the tools at their advantage.
Yeah, listen, we just want better officiating, period. And I think that's the only thing we're saying here.
Look, to finish the conversation about the refs, I think for me, I just want to get it right. What I don't want the next day, which I feel happens a lot, is in all sports, especially in football, is you go back to the Commanders Giants game on Sunday night, our game obviously on Saturday night, in a couple of different plays. We're sitting here dissecting how the outcome of the game is different because we didn't have a chance to replay it, or there wasn't when there is technology that's out there to give us a more conclusive way of figuring this stuff out, and we're not utilizing that is frustrating, right?
Right. And then refs could focus on they could have hyper focus on things like roughing the passer, delayed hits, holding, stuff that maybe the technology
I think
won't be able to
roughing
keep
the
up with.
passer should be reviewed now, especially
Yeah,
after
that's
the
what I'm
LA
saying.
thing.
They can be like, okay, I don't have to worry about whether it's a catch, whether it's out of bounds, all
I
this
don't have
stuff.
to worry
I just
about
have to
getting
focus
it
on
wrong because I can get it right. Whatever.
exactly.
I can give my personal eye viewpoint if I thought it was a hit, whatever. But if I made them look, are you going to get 100%? No, there's nothing that will ever be 100%. But if I have a chance to get 98% or 97%, I want that. And right now, I don't even think we're close to that. So, and when there's millions and millions of dollars in betting, when there's the outcome of every heart of that team's fans on the line, I just don't want the referees getting involved with it. If there is a penalty, call it, but make sure that it's the right one. And the other problem I have with it is, why are we calling it now with 2 minutes left in the game when you have not been calling it the entire game? That pisses me off too. And I feel like
Consistency
that
as
would
well.
happen on the Buffalo game. Do I think that there was bad calls per se? Yeah, there might have been one or two in that Saturday night game. My biggest beef with the refs that night, though, is there were some calls that were made that were clearly, yes, they were penalties, but you weren't calling them the whole game, and you weren't calling them for the other side that we clearly saw multiple times. That is my point with them. It's not that it was a bad call at that particular moment. It's you hadn't been calling it the whole game. Are you kidding me? Now you're calling it? That pissed me off.
Let me ask you this, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist guy at all. I'm a pretty facts-based dude, but how much does Vegas have the influence of sports betting, the NFL's ties to Vegas have to do with all of this?
It's so funny you say that.
Are the officials, knowingly controlling the game to benefit?
You're getting into some conversations they might take us off the air for.
Listen, but it's painfully obvious, right? And so you look at it from the perspective of the field and the officiating, and then you look, with the other eye of just you're seeing the proliferation of ads during NFL games for sports betting, and not only ads, bro, but NFL royalty in these ads, like the whole damn Manning family advertising for Caesars Sportsbook. Are you freaking kidding me? But Pete Rose can't get in the Hall of Fame? Come on.
All right, so let's talk about it a little bit. Let's talk about conspiracy theories. Let's talk about if the NFL was rigged, because that was all over social media. Yep, put it on, Nando.
We're ready, bro. How fast do you think the NFL would implode if there was a Paul Crew longest yard situation? We found out that a starting quarterback was just throwing games. That all these years, Matt Stafford and the Lions weren't bad. He was just tossing picks.
Matt Stafford
to clown around
picks because he was making money on the side.
And then when it finally ran out, he said, "Screw you guys! I'm getting traded to the Rams. Then I'm gonna go win a Super Bowl. Now I'm gonna go be good."
So
that's a good point. Like that flip side, or somebody made here, Stephen Bravo. I hated that after such a well played game between the Bills and the Dolphins, that a freaking yellow flag was thrown at a crucial point in time of the game.
I hated it. Me too.
There has to be consistency in the refereeing, man. If you're gonna call, like in soccer, I hate to keep bringing it up, man, but in soccer it's like a thing. Like there are refs who like, oh, this is an ultra aggressive ref. I know I can't play super aggressive defense because he likes the yellow card. Oh, this is a very passive guy. He likes to physical contact. I should be good. Like I'd like to see that in the NFL. And like, oh, this is a flag heavy ref. I've got to play very clean football, and the entire time. He's gonna be throwing holdings, PIs from the entire time from the get-go. Or oh, this is a ref who he's okay with hands, he's okay with old school football. We're gonna get away with a lot of stuff in this game. But the
players have to play to the ref's tendencies, right? Like the players know, like
exactly. So at least they know what's gonna happen. Like
all right. But they also know who's officiating on the field. Hey, this back judge, he's a little bit more lenient with the use of hands. Like
this guy's blind.
Right.
Guy's clearly blind. All right. Let's get to the conversation at hand. I think that there was a former NFL player that came out a couple of years ago and said that all NFL players sign a contract stating that they will not talk about that the NFL is a truly rigged game. If you go look at the NFL, so businesses are registered in the what is the thing called where you go register a business with the state? Help me out here, guys. Come on now. You guys know what I'm talking about. Cameron should know.
I mean, you register with the state website.
Okay. Well, if you go look at the NFL, it doesn't say sports. It says entertainment. And so it doesn't say sports. It says straight up entertainment. So there are some people that think that the NFL legally got have done everything according to the letter of the law. They have not stated that they're a sport, that they're an entertainment company, and that they provide entertainment. So, and they got legalized betting for an entertainment company, not for a professional sport. Are there things that make me think the conspiracy could be there? Yeah, but I also think we can make anything look any way we want to. I personally don't think in any way, shape, or form that the NFL is rigged. Do I think that they are trying to go look at the NBA, right? Tim Donaghy situation. If you want to go see
NBA rigged for sure.
Well, that there was a Netflix documentary, which I by the way think you should go watch. It's an amazing documentary on Netflix. And Donaghy basically said that the NBA would say, okay, they'll send memos. Hey, make sure you watch out for Steven Jackson throwing the elbow when he goes into the paint, or make sure so when the NBA sends a memo like that to watch out for something in particular, it's basically the NBA saying to the refs, you should call this. Okay. But in turn, they would also send memos to the referees of something to the effect of, hey, look, we want to make sure, we're really excited for tonight's game. We're hoping to showcase LeBron tonight. He's going to be absolutely amazing. So calls that should happen, are they going to happen towards LeBron? Probably not, because nobody's going to pay thousands of dollars a ticket to see LeBron foul out, in the third quarter. Nobody wants to see that, right? So the same thing in the NFL. Nobody wants to see Tyler Heineke, or I don't want to put Tyler Heineke, but nobody wants to see, I'm going to say this and I'm going to get everybody mad at me. Nobody's paying money to see Skylar Thompson. People are paying money to see Tua Tagovailoa, right? Nobody wants to see Chad Henne. They want to see Patrick Mahomes. So I understand the way you cater the game to make sure you protect certain caliber players. But do I think that the NFL says, hey, look, we need to make sure that the Kansas City Chiefs win because we don't want the Miami Dolphins to win? There's no way I think that happens. I don't see it.
I think NFL's just too hard in reality. It's just too many players. Like it's just too hard to rig a game unless it's like the refs. But even then, like, it's a little blatant. I do think you can influence refs a little bit, though. Right? I think you can, though. Like, I think a referee can try to change a little bit of the game.
The game.
Yeah, like I think so. Like, there's always like those little posts like, "Oh, referees are allowed to have favorite teams that shouldn't be allowed," which, you know, eh, they're still fans of the game. Obviously,
the referees can absolutely influence a game. Influenced by yellow flag and there's a penalty called, right? Influence a game by not calling an out of bounds catch on a touchdown. Like, that's influencing the game. Whether or not that's controlled by the league is the,
I think they help guide it. I think they help guide it. Donahue said it best. So if you watch this document, if you are a sports fan, you need to go watch this documentary about Tim Donahue, and the NBA and his whole ordeal with rigging NBA games. And basically, it's I don't think it's as clear cut as people think, but I also think that when the league sends you a memo to talk about a certain player habits, you're basically being told to say it. Do I think the NFL does that with officiating? Hey, look,
it might, man.
Calls offside. So if you think that that is a way to control, yeah, maybe you're right. It is more. Go back. All right. So they say the biggest scandal in sports history when it comes to was a series rigged was the Sacramento Kings, LA Lakers, Western Conference Finals back in the early 2000s. And Donahue clearly says in the thing, he's like, yeah, that was probably rigged because they didn't want Sacramento in the finals. They wanted the Lakers in the finals. So the Lakers got more calls than the Sacramento Kings did in that Western Conference Finals. And we can go back and look at that thing, and we saw some you can see some egregious calls on Sacramento where you're like, I didn't see that. No way that happened. But you go back and look in the NFL, yeah, it's probably like that in certain areas. But I don't think the NFL could get away with something like that, or any sport could get away with something like that over an extended period of time. You just can't do it. I don't think so.
It's certainly we're opening the Pandora's box here, and we're only saying this only because.
Hold on one second.
Taken out.
The officiating has been, deplorable this year from everybody's perspective, right? And we're always bitching about the refs going back to the early times where the refs are always going to be a central part of an argument because calls have to be made one way or another, and it's going to affect one team or the other. But it just seems like the questions are able to be asked now because there's so much visibility from sports books and betting. I mean, FanDuel, seems such a small, fun side thing to a game, but that's betting, right? And I'm pretty sure we all have FanDuel downloaded on our phone.
I do not have FanDuel on my thing, just so you know.
So if you have if you saw like a slew of like NFL analysts, like on like NFL Network, they like all picked one team on like a gambling segment, would you think that like they're trying to like mislead the public? Like, oh, we're about to rig this so you guys all bet on this game and we
110%. Dude, so that's Cynthia Fryland, right? Like, go look at her track record, man. She is like the best right now.
Oh,
she is the best out there in predicting games and doing so in an analytical way. And she's all over the NFL Network and Fox. And it's crazy how much influence she has over, just a simple man in his living room on his app betting, like it's crazy.
Hey, man. Like,
but let me just point blank ask, do you think personally that the NFL is sending memos or telling refs to call certain things against certain players?
I mean, that's an accusation that's pretty far reaching, Steven. So I'm not going to put my name on any yes or no answer.
No,
I'm wearing a tinfoil hat. I can say as I please. I think that the referees definitely get some communique from Goodell, from the powers that be, and let them know you gotta check out this dude. He looks a little jittery. He's gonna get a lot of false starts and holdings and of such nature. You gotta check out that DB. He's probably gonna be real handsy,
I mean, who is
says that the NBA would send them tapes of certain players doing certain things, right?
Like
So it was
train
clear-
them before the game. Like watch out for
no,
that guy.
no. So like for example, right? Like so, LeBron, rookie year in the league, LeBron would take 3 or 4 steps to the basket without dribbling, but they would never get the offsides. They would never call the traveling call. But he said in one particular series, the NBA did send a notice about LeBron's traveling call, and it happened to be against, I forget who it was. And why are we all know what LeBron does. Why are we sending it about this now? Because the NBA didn't want Cleveland to win. They wanted the bigger market team because they would get more views. And I think it was a Lakers game. I think it was like a Christmas Day Lakers game. And yeah, something like that. But still, right? Like I don't know, man. I think if there's anybody that's gonna rig a game, it's gonna come from the referees because they don't make as much money as the players.
They betting.
Buffalo Wild Wings showed us years ago. Send it to overtime.
That'd be an awesome documentary in like 20 years from now. Just some referee. He's like, yeah, I'm a millionaire because I just spent my entire career just rigging games, just throwing flags left and right.
Officials are not allowed to gamble at all.
My wife and I had the greatest plan of all time, bro. The tell-all. A Netflix 30 for 30.
Goodell doesn't hate any of us.
ESPN won't do it.
And by the way, here's my other problem with that. If Tua's the leading vote getter in the NFL right now, you would think that the NFL would choose to be with us because, well, by theory, by logic, more people want to watch because Tua is the most popular player in the NFL right now. He had the leading vote getter. So you would think the NFL would side with us that we would get more views than the Bills would. There's more Dolphins fans.
I mean, there is naturally that tendency. Like when you're a winning team, a winning franchise, like we look at the Patriots, bro, like all the calls they got in their favor, like there is that image of, oh, like this team is our poster team, or we've got these players who are our poster child. They're going to get calls in their favor. The Dolphins don't have that credibility yet, Steven. Like, yes, we're starting to get there. Maybe the times are changing. Maybe we'll start getting refs saying, oh, that's Tua. That's a fan favorite. We gotta call some more calls in his favor to protect him. But right now we're seeing Tua get thrown around like a rag doll. And then I'll see another game and they'll touch a QB and they're like, that was illegal, 15 yards, bro.
Am I reading this?
I just saw my guy just get suplexed.
Am I reading this correctly? Is it supposed to be 56 degrees in Miami on Sunday?
Are you serious?
49 is what I thought. I'm
going to be able to use this outside?
So real talk. So the night before I leave to go to South Florida on Friday, Allie texted me and she goes, make sure you wear long pants and maybe a sweatshirt for the game on Saturday night. And I'm like, okay. And I look at the weather and I think it said it was like going to be 60 or something like that. So I wore long pants, and I don't wear long pants. I love shorts. I'm a shorts guy. I was sweating my you-know-what off and I was like, Allie, don't you ever give me advice on weather again. You're just as bad as the weather people, okay? And so,
dude, it wasn't supposed to rain like that either.
Dude, it was, yeah.
But you're right. It's supposed to be 41 degrees, Sunday morning at 8 a.m. and game time kickoff 51.
Are we going to have heaters on the sideline? Are the Dolphins going to, because they requested heaters in L.A. Said no one.
I love that was a fake report. And I know. Then, the real one barely got circulated.
Let me tell you, I'm watching the game on Saturday night, right? And so anytime a big play happens, Von 954 was watching. Shout out to Von 954. And he comes up and he's like, Steven, he doesn't when the lights are on, he doesn't show up. He doesn't show up for big games, Steven. Every time like Waddle would make a good catch or Tua would make a good throw, he's like, but he's a bad quarterback, Steven. That's what everybody's trying to tell us, Steven. I was cracking up the entire time. But every time Cat would come over, he's a bad quarterback. But he doesn't show up in the lights, Steven. When the lights are on and the game is on the line, he doesn't show up.
Wait a minute. Was Cap at Vasasur?
Who?
Was Cap there at Vasasur?
No, Cap was supposed to come, and Cap didn't show up, according to what Von 954 said.
Yeah, I didn't. Nobody
Vaughn.
named.
I'm going to start
Nobody.
some drama. Vaughn told me that Cap said he would never come. No, I'm just playing. Cap said, or Vaughn said that Cap could make it. That's all. That's all Vaughn said. I don't want to.
Cap never introduced himself to me. I know that for sure.
Cap was
saying
not there.
47
Cap was not
degrees
there.
on Sunday.
Chef Shoe says 33 likes, 108 people in the room. Hit the like button, please. Fins up. Guys, don't forget to donate to the channel. Every $10 increment in donation on Cash App or PayPal only, you will be entered to win a Christian Wilkins autographed jersey courtesy of ZSM Sports. So make sure you donate through Cash App and PayPal only in increments of 10. If you donate $50, you will get double the donations. If you donate $100, you will get triple the donations. Let's go. Donate to the channel. Von954 says lies. Okay, so we got about 15 minutes left in the show, maybe a little bit longer, depending. I know some of you got to get out of here. Let me ask, man, what are your thoughts for the Green Bay game? Start with
yeah, Nando, go ahead.
Oh, for the Green Bay game, man. First, it's gonna be cool to see Aaron Rodgers in person, man. On a personal note, I think I did not want to see Jordan Love. Christmas Day, it's gonna be pretty epic. I think the Dolphins are gonna win. Maybe not handily, maybe not smack them around, especially if Aaron Rodgers comes to play. But the losing ends here. We're coming home, tough road stretch. The boys are recovering. No heaters needed. We've got the warm sun, and they'll be nice and rested. Even if it's 50 degrees, 40 degrees in Miami, it's with the sun. That's not bad, bro. Especially from what they've just been coming through. We'll be good to go. Hopefully run the ball a little bit better, but I'm going for a Dolphins win, guys. What about you?
Yeah, man, same. Like I want to continue this run game phenomenon that we saw against the Buffalo Bills.
It's the run game.
I want to see another clean game from Tua. No interceptions, 2 or 3 tutties. 250 to 350 yards passing. I want to see smart play selections. I want to see good, progressions made by Tua and hitting his wide receivers in areas so they can, make plays. I want to see the defensive line. Someone, we haven't talked about this. I think this is the 4th game with Bradley Chubb. And I think, the expectation, whether it was fair or not, that he comes in and, is the next coming of Lawrence Taylor, which, hasn't been hasn't come to fruition, but he certainly has stabilized the defensive line, and we're seeing Jalen Phillips benefit from that. I think. So I want to see more of that, and I want to see, our defensive secondary shut down, Green Bay and Rodgers in that pass game.
That'll be fun.
I think the thing for me with this Sunday is going to be, the Dolphins and making sure that, they just show up, right? And, they didn't do it in LA. Some people were off in San Francisco. I just want them to show up as a team and be ready to play and just know what's going on. So make sure that happens. That's a big deal. The other thing that I want them to do is just win handedly. I want them to build up the confidence. In order for the Dolphins to make a legit run, they have, again, the one thing they have not done this year in any way, shape, or form, have not played 4 quarters. They have not played 4 straight quarters of football. So I want to see that. And then real quick, Tua was 741 yards away from 4,000. And Tyreek, I think, is 400 and something yards away from 451 or something like that. From
471, I think someone said.
Yeah, 471 from 2,000. I would love to see both those things happen over the next 3 games, and it's legit. I think Tua has to average 252, and if he averages 252 and 2 touchdowns in each game, he will end the year he'll have 30 touchdowns and over 4,000 passing yards. And
who said that at the beginning of the year?
You did. And I said
I was off on the touchdowns.
And I said if he did that, he's the guy for He's the guy for the future of this team.
Good.
No
stuff,
ands,
Mr. Cameron.
Yeah.
No, and we also said if he does that, this is a legit playoff, team, and that's coming to fruition. Like these next 3 games, well, we go into the playoffs with 3 wins. We have momentum on our side. That's what we're asking for. That's what we want to see. And the
Let me ask you a real question real quick. So Tua, with 9 minutes to go, they get the ball, right? They get the ball. I forget exactly when it was in the fourth quarter. And I feel the need to at least have this conversation with you two. I think we have first down on the 50, if I'm correct, or close to the 50, and we can't move it 15 to 20 yards. We can't get 20 yards to get in field goal range. Does that say a lot to you that we couldn't do that? Because that would have put the game at 11 points at that point instead of 8. Are you upset that the Dolphins couldn't get 20 yards? And what do you think that says about the team that when the game was there, we couldn't get it? Like that was a must have and we couldn't get it.
I think I referenced this earlier in our conversation before Nando got on. And that to me was really defeating because we turned the ball over. We gave the ball back to Buffalo with them and ultimately had the opportunity to score, and they did. And that's so after Steven, you just outlined, the scenario, but that's after Tua completed 2 first down plays, consecutive plays to get us to midfield.
And then there was 2 penalties, I think, right?
There was 1 penalty, but the Mostert got stopped on a short gain. There was an incomplete pass where the Bills had great coverage. Right. And then third down, they stunted the defensive end and defensive tackle and got into his face. He checked down to, outside on that flat pass. I think it was the Durham Smythe or Conrad or Ingold rather. And it almost, got picked, but to me, we got away from controlling the clock in the run game. Like I would have much rather seen 3 run plays in a row because we had success with the run and we would have kept the clock running. Buffalo only had 1 timeout at that point.
It says that. So in your mind, it says more about Mike McDaniel's play calling than it does about Tua's inability to lead us down the field.
Correct.
Okay. I don't disagree.
I mean, because he did lead us to midfield and then there was lack of execution and a bad play call in my eyes on that third down play. Like, why are we passing to the flat on a 3rd and 8 play when the ball should have gone downfield?
Nando, let me kind of ask you the same, but I want to ask you in a totally different about the game as far as like closing, right? The Dolphins on the road, their defense gives up like 29 points a game, 20, 28, 29 points a game. At home, they're giving up less than 16, I think, points per game. Which, by the way, is another reason why I think we're going to blow Green Bay out the water on Sunday. Neither here or there. When it comes to the game on Saturday night, though, does the defense get any blame for not holding, Buffalo to less than 29 points? They do. They win that game, but they allowed 32.
So if we were able to sustain drives a little longer, if we were able to stay on the field, a little better play calling, like you said, Cameron, that 3rd and 8, brutal, bro. I think there was also like a 3rd and 2 where we I don't know if McDaniel thought it was a little longer, but I thought we should have just ran it. I think it was it's like a little out route and just little stupid stuff that if we stayed a little longer in the field, I think the defense would have been able to hold on a little longer. There were times where they tightened up, like coming out of the half, they held them to 21. They gave us the chance to build up that lead, and then they started to slip. It's just been a frustrating defense, man. There's been spurts where they're good and they're locked down, and then they seem to tail off. And I don't give them all the blame because they also held us into there, man. Like they played well, but it's been frustrating that you talk about not playing 4 quarters, man. The defense hasn't all year, honestly.
We had an 8-point game, lead with 9 minutes to go.
We did. We did in Buffalo, in the cold weather, in the snow.
One of the hardest places to win a game,
and all of the NFL.
It's tough, bro, because they let up 21 in the first half, and then they only let up 8 in the second. So it's how do you judge the defense? It's just they're not playing a full game. Like
it's probably not
or
fair
they have
for
11.
us.
Sorry.
It's probably not fair for any of us to expect them to flip the switch and get all of a sudden better, because
They do at home. Like, it's weird.
What,
you know,
when they get home?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why, by the way, I 100%. So just so you know, we are win. Are we undefeated at home this year?
no, we lost to Minnesota fan club weekend.
Got it. You're right. 100%. So we lost one game at home this year, and a game that Tua didn't play in. That Teddy, Jalen's fumble and an interception away from that game being totally different too. So we've lost one game at home the entire year, and 2 of the next 3 games are at home. And we know that we can play well in cold weather because we just did it in Buffalo. So I'm not scared of New England. Miami's winning the next 3, y'all. I'm just letting y'all know. We're winning the next 3. We're going to get into the playoffs as the 5 or 6 seed. And we're going to go on the road. We're going to play whoever we're going to play, whether that be Tennessee, Kansas City. I don't think it's going to be Kansas City. It's either going to be, I think it's either going to come down to Cincy, Baltimore, or Tennessee. Those are the 3 places I think we end up playing. One of those 3 in the first round.
You got to go to the games, right, guys?
Oh, I'm there. I'm already there.
To Cameron?
To what?
To the
First
games?
round of the playoffs.
Playoff games?
Yeah.
Dude, I already have my Airbnb in Scottsdale, so come on. And I'm not joking. But absolutely, especially if it's in Jacksonville. And just insider information, I think I'm booking my flights for the New Year's Day game in New England. So Eric Carrier, I know you're listening.
That's I didn't know that was New Year's Day.
New Year's Day, 1 o'clock.
New Year's Day. We played on Christmas Day, New Year's Day. We're gonna play on Super Bowl Day.
And speaking of which, just
All the holidays.
FYI, there's no tailgate at East 32 this week for Christmas Day.
I know.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people ask me about that. Look, people want to enjoy the time with their families, and Dolphins football already takes up so much of our time enough. We'd like to be in marriages, and we like our significant others to be married to us. And
more importantly, I like my daughter to like me.
that wasn't going to happen, just so y'all know. Wasn't even close to happening. As a matter of fact, when the schedule came out, Cameron called me and was like, there will be no Christmas Day game.
Right off the bat.
No. I was like, what? Steven, you're married. I was like, okay. You have kids. Okay, I get it. I understand. Yeah. All right, man. Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami Fan Morning Show. Let's do some final thoughts of the day. I will start with you, Cameron. Final thought of the day.
Final thoughts. I'm a big picture guy. Like 3-game losing streak, I don't feel as bad as it were if like a normal 3-game losing streak. We played well. We played it well enough to win. We didn't win. That's okay. Like it didn't really damage us too badly in terms of the playoff hunt, especially we win the next 3 games, which are all winnable games. As long as we take care of our business and do what we're supposed to do. We do that. We go into the playoffs with some real momentum. And once you're in the playoffs, bro, like anything can happen. And that's, as a Dolphin season ticket holder and a fan, that's what I'm excited about, right? So I'm excited going into this Sunday's game because it's going to start. We're going to start to see that ball roll. We started it in Buffalo, and for no pun intended, the snowball effect is going to happen, right? It's going to be
no pun intended at
no
all.
No pun intended, but the snowballs raining down on the Dolphins. It's going to roll into this 3-game win streak, and who knows what's going to happen after that. It's going to be an exciting finish to the season as an NFL fan. I'm really excited to see what Detroit and Jacksonville are going to do for these next 3 games. It's going to be fun. And I'll see you Thursday with Tamaris because I've got some exciting stats to share with you, Steven.
They're not for me, though, are they?
I'll just say they're not for any of us.
Okay. All right. Anyways, Nando, final thought of the day.
No, I think the Dolphins are in a good spot, man. Like I agree, Cameron. This is not like your average 3-game losing streak. The fact of the matter is, it's 3 super tough teams. Like, it sucks that the Dolphins have gone win streak, lose streak, win streak, lose streak. But if we had divided the schedule a little bit differently around, spread out those wins, spread out these tough 3 losses, you'd be looking right now at 8, like at our record and saying, okay, 8-6, 3 very winnable games. We can win out, build that momentum, get into the playoffs. And then none of it matters, bro. Then you get to the playoffs, it's 0-0, everything resets, and we just got to win games. And I think that this Dolphins offense is built to be able to hang. This Dolphins defense has been frustrating at times, but if they can click and figure it out, man, for at least 4 quarters or at least enough that so that the offense can sustain drives or build leads, oh man, this Dolphins team is gonna make some freaking noise, boys. And I'm ready for this Christmas.
Y'all heard it here first. The Miami Dolphins are going to win the next 3, and they're going to win at least 1 playoff game. And if they win that
the next 4,
yeah, I think they're a guarantee. I'm guaranteeing it. I'm
4-game win streak
guaranteeing
coming up.
the Dolphins win the next 4.
Listen, in 6 games gets us to the Super Bowl.
I'm guaranteeing the Dolphins win the next 4 games.
And it starts at home against Green Bay.
And I'm not saying they can't win the next 6 or 7. I'm just saying that I guarantee they win the next 4. Guaranteed Dolphins win the next 4.
And we'll reassess, baby. Appreciate you, Stephen Bravo.
Appreciate it, Mr. Bravo. All right, so tomorrow's Wildin' Out Wednesday. Gonna have a big day tomorrow. Super excited about that. I'm excited to see what you, the fans, think. I know a lot of you are ready for it. It's going to be a great show. We got a great show lined up for you. If you like the show today, please hit the like button. Only 40 likes. Hit it. If you guys liked the show today, we ask that you please donate to the channel. Help the channel grow. It goes such a long way into helping the channel grow. The link to Cash App and PayPal is in the link right here. It's Christmas time. It's the time for giving.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, you have a way better voice for that.
Happy holidays. Start giving. Happy holidays to you. Hey, I got a little something. I got a little something.
As soon as it said happy, I was like, I'm not even going to try, man. I was like, this isn't going to happen.
You guys are the best fans in the world. I love doing this. I had a great time. Cameron, man, we had a great time at Beza. Beza was fun, right?
It was a ton of fun. We need to do more of that. Looking forward to doing watch parties for the playoffs. If we don't go to the playoffs, as far as in person to a playoff game. So more on that to follow, man.
Bonjo, I will see you tomorrow right here on Wildin' Out Wednesday. And you can tell me all about the guarantees, man. And I love you, brother. I love all of you. And it's gonna, for the next 4 games, 7 games, it's gonna be this.
Go get your holiday shopping done. Let's go.
Oh,
Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami Fan Morning Show, Clock Blockers. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
I know the whole city riding.
Easy, everyone.
Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter.